Hello, everyone. First of all, a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. Welcome to the session on Solution Challenge 2021, a contest where you get an opportunity to solve some real world problems using Google technology. Martin Luther said, take the first step in faith. You do not have to see the whole staircase, you just have to take the first step. This is the first step towards an opportunity to build something worth for the society. Moving ahead to the session agenda for the day, today we'll be discussing what exactly is Solution Challenge and how you can be a part of it. We'll be covering the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. You will also get an insight about the timeline, registration process, and the Solution Design Day. Apart from it, we'll be discussing about the technical workshops and mentorship program to find the right solution for the right problem. Now let's meet the speakers for the day. This is Vanshika Garg, DSC lead at Banasthali Vidyapith, and we are honored to have 8 DSC leads from different states around the world. So, before we begin, let's answer a quick question. What do you think that challenge is all about? Your time starts now. Okay, so time's up. Okay, so we have few answers. Dalgona Coffee Challenge. All right. 100 days of code. Okay. So there's an interesting one. Kiki Challenge. All right. So we have many different guesses. So let's not wait too much and see what's the fuzz is all about. So what exactly is Google Solution Challenge? Google Solution Challenge is an annual challenge held by Google in collaboration with all DSCs worldwide in order to achieve 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in order to bring a change in the world. The mission is to solve one or more of the goals using Google technology. We invite all the university students around the world to join the competition and build solutions for real life problems. Now let's begin with a short introductory video to familiarize you with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Hope now you will enjoy the same. Hope now you have got the much insight or a better idea about the challenge and how to go about it. Okay, one more interesting question on the floor. How many Marvel fans in the house? Does anybody know their mission statement? Okay, so does anybody know their mission statement? It's a vision reaching far as our stories. In the Solution Challenge 2, the ideas aim to have a far outreach impact. So, are you all ready to take up this challenge?
Okay, I guess we all are ready for the solution challenge. So now let's move ahead with the main goal of our solution challenge, which are the 17 sustainable development goals. So I would initially like to thank Vanshika to give us a very good head start. So basically, these 17 sustainable development goals are nothing but the main like they have embraced the nature and characteristics of the Millennium Development Goals, but they have produced a bit more characteristics, and they are more bit comprehensive goal for all. So mainly, we are going to break down the 5 keys uh, of the Sustainable Development Goals into people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. So, as you can see, these 5 P's highlight how the sustainable goals are intertwined framework instead of a group of siloed goals. So the progress on one P must balance and support the progress on another. So let's start with the first P, which is people. So the first P consists of the first goal, which is no poverty. So basically, poverty is a very, very diverse situation, and it has got different types. It's not how exactly you as an individual perceive poverty. Every person has a different perception of poverty. It can be situational, it can be generational, it can be absolute, it can be relative, it can be urban, or it can also be rural. So, for addressing this particular problem, maybe you can try creating a platform where you connect the needy ones to the helpers. And maybe you can come up with some mobile banking option which offers the poor access to banking without transaction cost, because I guess mobile banking allows them to save money without fear of theft. Improved transportation can also be one of the solutions to it, and many children, especially disadvantaged girls in the rural areas, have limited access to the education, and many of the schools that rural children can attend, they struggle with poor quality teachers and also limited resources. But new technologies like solar power computers and projectors, they allow students to participate in real time interactive lessons with maybe even quality teachers. So the next goal of people's development is hunger. So basically, the motto is that we have to end hunger, we have to achieve food security, and we also have to ensure improved nutrition, because hunger again differs. It's basically are built up on poverty, which we are facing a lot. So there's a very well said quote that's the world's hunger is becoming ridiculous. There are more fruits in the rich man's shampoo than on a poor man's plate. So this is a very essential topic which we can address. So talking in terms of technical, so advancements in precision agriculture. Now precision agriculture is nothing but a farming management concept that incorporates IoT into farming techniques. It offers another way to help feed the planet. So it like you can think about it, because it also uses a very high precision positioning system like GPS, that are the key to achieve accuracy whenever they are driving in the field, or maybe providing navigations and positioning capability anywhere on the earth. So also, one thing which you can do is that maybe you can allow small scale farmers to connect with one another to solve problems, share ideas, and spread innovations. Okay, so moving on to the next. So, the third one which we have is good health and well being. So, basically, you can take an example of the Practo. I am sure many of you must be knowing about it. So, what Practo does it basically connects the doctor to the general people. But again, when I'm talking about health, it's again very diversified. Like rural people do not have access to proper healthcare setups, so maybe you can cover this up with your solution by providing some mobile healthcare solutions, like there's one concept called as telemedicine, so which aims to raise the level of healthcare with wearables and smartphones to track the health of people. And secondly, managing the massive volume of patient related data is also a very big concern. So the healthcare system technology solution can be that maybe you can come up with some cloud-based data systems and mobile portals. So these solutions provide healthcare professionals with real-time access to the patient-related data. Maybe you can talk about registrations, medical history, diagnosis, treatments, appointments, and more. So the next one is education equality. So this is a very, very major concern. It has been going on since years, and the most effective means of achieving a sustainable global development is solely quality education. So in places where internet connectivity is very unreliable or intermittent, so maybe you can come up with innovative approaches to cache and distribute digital content, which can enable offline access to vast number of online resources in such ways that can stimulate maybe online environments. And also in remote communities where teachers may face daunting challenges related to isolation of peers or maybe a lack of resources, so mobile phones here can help the teachers in maybe small but meaningful ways by providing access to education content, and also regular prompts and tips about how exactly they can use that educational content. So moving on to the next, we have gender, which is very famous one, gender equality. So the access control to track office space utilization can be a solution to this problem. Also, we have sensors to track individual behavior and interaction in the workspaces or maybe normally. So there was a Harvard Business Review which used real companies data to compile evidences concerning the gender bias in especially the workplace. So they took a sample company wherein both male and female employees wore sensors on their clothes, and they were tracked, and then their interactions and their movements throughout the office, the researchers were able to more accurately measure how exactly how much interaction the employees from both gender received from their superiors, and they could also compare the work patterns between men and women, and also even measure they could even measure how exactly a conversation was dominated by either of the gender. So these are the solutions you can come up with in the people's domain. Now we have the prosperity domain. So the major concern which has always been is water. So maybe real time, metering can also help you to overcome the water wastage. And we have energy. So okay, so for energy, again for energy, maybe you can use real-time metering, and frequent billing can be in control. So the major problem is, like, to be very frank, computers have been some of the major energy users in the office buildings. So maybe if you turn off your monitor at night, and if you ditch the screensaver, you can cut off over, you can help save the energy over 4,000 times. So maybe opting to shut down your screensaver if you think it does not affects your computer lifespan, I would better suggest, like, you can start shutting down your computer whenever you're opting out for turning your computer into the screensaver mode. So maybe you can come up with a very efficient screensaver which might help in consuming lesser amount of energy from your computer. Now you have your decent work and economic growth. So decent work means opportunities for everyone. Like, you have to get work that is productive and delivers a fair income, security in the workplace, and social protection for families. And it also offers better prospects for personal development and also social integration. And talking about economic growth, so in economics, it is widely accepted that technology is the key driver of economic growth of all the countries, of the regions, and the cities. So technological progress allows for more efficient production of more and better goods and also services, which is what the prosperity depends on. So moving on to the other sides of prosperity. So we have industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So developing countries, the industries in the developing countries, they often lack the necessary infrastructure and innovation opportunities to achieve sustainable economic growth. So maybe resilient and quality infrastructure systems might catalyze rapid economic development and also increase the standard of living of a country's population. Given the you know so quickly growing population, maybe you can come up with such a solution. And also supporting rural markets and services, like investments in local infrastructure and technology such as clean and efficient water pumps, cooking stoves, and we have mini grids and mills which can support local and inclusive growth. And also investment in reliable and resilient infrastructure enables access to services and markets, which also helps in increase the agricultural and business productivity. So the next which we have is reduce inequalities. So basically the aim is to reduce the inequality among countries. So maybe an inclusive access to the technology, like maybe you can consider reducing inequality, which relies on equal access to the services and resources, including the technology. You might consider reducing that. And over half of the world's population are not connected to the internet, primarily due to the cost. So in developed countries, consistent access to fast, uncapped broadband is relatively, inexpensive, but that is not the case in the developing nations. And also, you might consider the political and social inclusions, which is a key facet in inequality of the unequal representations in the social as well as political affairs. So the next one is sustainable cities and communities. So access to affordable housing can be one of the things where the number of urban residents living in the slum conditions continue to grow, and collecting better data on the areas of the greatest need will help direct financing opportunities and also public services to lift populations out of the slums and unsuitable housing. So urban planning and management can also be taken into picture, wherein the unplanned urban sprawl undetermines other factors of the sustainable development. So moving on to the next P, which is planet. So here in planet, as we had discussed about water, the main goal is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So one thing which can be done is, as I talked about, in energy. So real-time metering and the frequent billing can be considered, so that you don't get to know after a month how much water you have wasted. And also leak detection can be considered. So whether it is a small apartment or a complex one, a utility company or any other service provider, so supplying water to a community and managing the distribution of water is a very, very challenging task. So maybe real-time technology which you can use, which would enable a dashboard of supply and demand of the water, so that the consumption pattern over a period of time can be tracked by the distributor. So the next comes about the next goal is about ensuring sustainable consumption and production of activity pattern. So what you can do is, maybe you can come up with new business models, which would mean that maybe a shift from selling products to services, including sharing and leasing models, would enable businesses to grow revenue with a lower material intensity and maintain control over the materials in which are in use. And second thing which you can come up with, that is smarter shipping and distribution. So maybe smarter distribution systems can streamline shipping channels, and it can bring more efficiency and cost savings. So these systems are expected to improve safety and environmental impact of the shipping and port activities. And next on the planet, we can talk about climate action, which is very, very urgent. So maybe disaster risk planning and management can be done, which means that the devastation wreaked by a disaster, which is widely due to an inability of the country to anticipate and respond to the impending risk. So this can be taken into the picture. And secondly, tracking and monitoring the illegal activities like poaching and deforestation, even that can be done. The 14th one is life below water. So if we are very well aware of the ocean pollution, so maybe satellites, sensors, and other technologies which are being used, uh, we can use them in our terms to advance our understanding of the breadth of the debris which is polluting the oceans. So although this is very underdeveloped, maybe you can take this up, which would likely play a key role in ridding the world's oceans of plastic. So the other solution which you can think of is in the terms of marine planning. So maybe a high proportion of the oceans which lie outside of any national jurisdiction, it makes it very hard to manage the fish stocks and pollutions and the impacts of climate change. So maybe you can consider some maybe building something which can help us access that part also. Then we have life on land. So maybe intelligent land management system and policy settings can help us in controlling the plantation thing. And also we can track and monitor destructive activities like overhunting, overfishing, or overharvesting, which contributes greatly to the loss of biodiversity and are mainly responsible for the demise of numerous species over the several hundred years. So maybe we can think of it in this manner. Then we have peace. So this is our fourth P. So peace, justice, and strong intuitions. This is our 16th goal. So mainly transparent and traceable supply chains can be thought of, where because we know that human rights is a very significant supply chain risk for companies. So maybe you can think of something over here, or maybe creating safer communities because violence is one of the leading cause for death globally. So you can think of something in this way. And the last one is a partnership. So partnerships is basically about improving global partnerships, which is very essential to achieve the goals as well as ensure the peace and prosperity of mankind. So maybe you can, think about mobilizing financial resources for development, which will definitely continue to increase because the international aid, domestic revenue, everything comes into the picture. So, with this, we end our description of the 17 goals. Next, I would like to have Harsh to continue with the opportunities throughout this session.
So thank you so much, Tanishka, for those amazing insights and telling us all about the sustainable development goals. So before we move ahead, let us know in the chat which goal is it which speaks the most to you. Meanwhile, I'll be here covering all about the learning opportunities at the solution challenge, and also we'll be telling about the timeline of the same. So let's get started. So at the solution challenge, it will not just be about building solutions, it will also be about learning. So we will organize multiple events which will be focused on learning and growth. To start with, we are having first of all this info session. After this, we will be organizing a number of hackathons, ideathons, design days, and after which we will have technical workshops which will comprise of cloud, Android, ML, Flutter, Google Assistant, and much more. So now let's have a look at so let's get started and have a look at the step one of the registration process and how you can get into the solution challenge. So let's get started. So first of all, so let us know in the chat how many of you are already a part of Google Developer Student Clubs and if you are a member of it or not. So as I can say in the chat that many of you are already a member of the same. So in case if you haven't joined the club yet, you can reach out to the club that you have in your college, or if you don't have one, you can reach out to the nearest DSC to you. Once you have joined that club, you can register for the 2021 Solution Challenge by submitting the form. The form link will be shared with you all in the chat as well. So what after you have submitted that form? So the solution challenge is a team event. You don't have to compete individually, but you will be forming a team and working on developing a solution. So form a team of up to 4 members who will be there, which must comprise of different domains and have a diverse team. Maybe have members from all the domains of different genders, so you can have diverse opinions. After you form the team, go through the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, research on them, and choose one. So now that you have formed the team, what next? As it is rightly said, that teamwork can make anything possible. If you are working with the right team, you can achieve anything. So once you have chosen that goal, once you understand the problem, the next step is to identify the solution to it. The step two to the process is designing and building that solution. So identify the solution and what next. Like, let us know in the chat if any of the thing are getting confusing so that we can explain it. Like, the speakers are there in the chat as well, so they will answer over there. And to answer your confusions about any further, so once you have identified the solutions, we will be doing multiple sessions to help you in building that solution. We will be organizing workshops to help you design the front end of that solution, to help you with the backend technology of the solutions. Now, once you have built that solution, the next part is to test your solution. Roll out your solution for the users, take feedbacks from them, and iterate the process. Follow the same process again. Make improvements to your solution depending on what feedback you have received from your users. That was the step two of the solution challenge. Now, coming to the step three, what next? Like, once you have taken the feedbacks, you have incorporated everything, and you believe that this your solution is something which can bring a huge impact to the society. So, record the next step, that is the step three of the solution challenge, is to record a demo video and submit it by 31st of March. A form will be rolled out in the starting month of in the starting week of March, and you will have to fill the details of your team members, of your solution, and your demo video explaining about your solution. Be careful that this video will be the one which will be used for the evaluation of your solution. So spend a lot of time in building this video as well. So this will be done by the end of March. Now, after this, the top 50 teams will be announced in the month of May. And these top 50 teams will receive mentoring from Google experts for the month of May and June. After this mentoring, these teams will be again working on their solutions to improve their solution based on those mentoring. And after that, the top 10 solutions, that is the finalists, will be announced in the month of July. After the top 10 finalists have been announced, there will be top three winners. That is first winner, then the first runner up, and then the second runner up, who will be announced in a YouTube live in the month of August, which will be held on the official Google developers profile. And it's not just about that, what you don't have to worry about just winning, but it's more about participating and building solutions and to come up with something which can help you solve a problem around you. So we will be celebrating all the participants who will be joining us, staying with us for a span of approximate 8 months. So that was about the submissions. Now we talked about the judging criteria. We talked about like top 50 teams will be selected, top 10 teams will be selected. So what will be the judgment criteria on what things will your submissions be judged? And for that, we have Raghav Avasti with us, who will be covering about the judgment criteria of your solution. So meanwhile, let me check with the chat about.
Hello. Hey everyone. Yeah. So, how is your excitement? Please drop in the chat. How excited are you right now? Okay. Nice. So, for any competition, the understanding the rules and the judging criteria becomes a crucial step. So, let's get started. So, I guess we can see the factors on which will be judged. They happen to be impact and technology. So the whatever product you guys build, that will have a scale of 60% of the how much impact your product makes or the solution to be specific, and 40% of the judging criteria would go to the technical stack what you have taken. Then the impact is further divided into 5 of the main domains: the clarity, the effectiveness, the future plan of action, the testing you have done, and how much iterated you have over the product, how much improvements you have made on the basis of your testing. So 10 points is for clarity, 20 points is for effectiveness, 10 for future plan, and 10 for testing, and last 10 for iteration. So now we will see each one of these in detail. So clarity. In the clarity, we'll be judging it. What will be judged would be that how clear the solution you have proposed. how easy it is for the users to use your product, the solution built by you. And second thing, how many problem statements of the United Nations SDGs will your product, your solution be solving it. Then we have the effectiveness, how much effective your product is, to what extent it will be useful to the society, and how carefully you have addressed the problems. Next, we have your future plan of action. Once you make a solution, you also have a vision. Okay, I have made this product. After this much of period of time, I'll make these changes. I'll add these future updates. So, your future vision would be an evident step in the judging criteria. You would get 10 points for this as well. Next, we have the testing. Once you make a product, you have to test with some real users, right? Or would you test your code in production? Okay, so just a random question. How many of you have tested in production? I guess none. So the second thing which comes, when you test your product, you get the results on which you iterate. You get, okay, this thing is not working. Let's reiterate upon it. And on the basis of the users' feedback, you will improve your product. You get 10 points for that. Voila, that's sounds amazing, right? So we have more things in there. You get 40 points for the technology. Oh, are you also in the same scenario? I don't know what the cloud is, but I'm too afraid to ask. Drop your responses in the chat. Okay, awesome. So next we move on to the technical implementation. In the technical implementation aspects, whatever product you make, how much scalable it is, how much deeply engineered it is, how is the UI, how easier it is, how simplified it is to use it, and from a technical point of view, how much convenient it is to use a product, and how much effective algorithms you have used. Next, well, it's about Google. So you must be using some of the cool APIs of Google or some of the amazing products. So you have to explain like what things are used and how it was done. You get points for that. Next, we have the video demonstration, your working prototype, and showing how the users will interact with it, how the Google technologies are implemented, and mention how they will be adding the value to your customers, your end users. Next, we have the team effectiveness and the optimization. So building a right team is also a strategy. You can have the web developers in your team, you could have backend guys. How clearly your team is optimized? How optimized is your product? Is it making too many requests on the backend? Or is it very heavy to use? These factors will gain you other 10 points. Are you guys excited about the prizes? Okay, so let's see that. The top 50 teams, they will get the amazing mentorship from the experts and Googlers on the platform. And what about the finalists? Well, the top 10 finalists will receive additional swags. That sounds real cool. And a 1-year membership of the Plural site, and you will get the opportunity to showcase your products to the Googlers and developers around the world on the demo day. And well, you also get a Chromebook and coffee chat with a Google executive and a feature on the Google developers blog. So see you soon. Now handing over to Vanshita to take you on the deep dive journey into the design sprint.
Hello everyone, this is Vanshita Singh, Developer Student Club Lead, ABS Engineering College. As we all know, the DSC Solution Challenge has been announced officially. Too many communities and DSCs as well are pretty much excited for it. So let's see what we have in our design domain. Design is intelligence made visible. Design is the interface that connects the application users to the backend one. To design only, one can connect the model, its solution to the real world. The intelligent efforts we put in our project is solely made visible because of its app design and architecture. So let's move on to the next slide. So Design Days, an insightful series of 3 sessions to explain the solution design process. Design Days are meant to make you prepare for the upcoming solution design challenges you face in the advancement of your project. It is divided into 3 parts. The design sprint that we will be talking about today. It consists of details like identifying a problem, defining its users, and finding a relevant solution for it. The second part says about visual and product design. As the word depicts, that it is about practicing the design process. And the third and the most important and last part says about the technical architecture, which tells about practicing the designing of software systems and like architecture. So let's move on to the design sprint. The design sprint is broadly classified into 6 steps or 6 phases. The first is understand, which consists of user journey mapping, user interviews, and experience mapping. Then define, then sketch, that consists of crazy eights that we'll be talking about later. Decide, that consists of sketches that we use in our project. Prototype, that consists of storyboard. And validate, that consists of feedback from the users. So let's move on to the first phase of our design sprint. Yeah, in this phase, you will be understanding the problem to find its probable solutions and sharing the knowledge base among your team and participants. Lightning talks from the experts will help you win better to understand the problem from the technological angle and user perspective. Then move on to the next phase. Let define. In this phase, everything the team learned is evaluated to establish a focus. It is concluded by choosing the right focus for your sprint, metrics, signals, as well as goals. Now moving on to the next phase, that is sketch. In this phase, every individual of a team has to generate the range of ideas by taking the inspiration from the alternative solution and has to choose a single well-articulated solution per person. Coming on to the next phase is the decide. In this phase, the team has to give you the direction to the solution by deciding the final sketch among the team members that they have presented in the sketch phase. So the team has to narrow down their solution to only one sketch per person. Then we have the next phase, that is prototype. So continuing the sketch phase, this phase aims to convert the sketch that we have prepared in the sketch phase to the real prototype that the team will work on together to build a project in future. Then the last and the most important and valuable phase is the validate phase. This phase depends upon the feedback of the users, the reviews and the feedback of the stakeholders, the technical feasibility of the project, and the potential latency that your project has. So this phase measures your project potential. So that's it from the design sprint. I really hope that you will get the knowledge about the design and how to go on with the design thing with your project and ready to build something awesome with this right methodologies. Thank you. Over to you, Alisha.
Thank you, Vanshita. Hello everyone, I'm Alisha. As of now, you know that we have 3 parts to cover. The first one is the info session, which we are doing right now. The second is either we will host a hackathon or a design day in future. Third is the technical workshops, which we might be covering in the future as well. So, why exactly technical workshops are important? Well, after you have finalized the idea, you might want to implement the solution, right? So for that, you need to have some technical skills. If you don't have, relax. We got you covered. DSC will be hosting 6 or more technical workshops like Google Cloud, Android in Kotlin, which we have already covered in the study jam, and machine learning with TensorFlow, Flutter, Google Assistant, Firebase, data science cloud, web paths. Okay, I would like to stay on the first slide. Okay, thanks. So I'm gonna give the overview of each of the technologies and code labs as well. Okay, many of you heard about cloud. Well, it isn't a cloud that floats in the sky. I'm not a fan of white hat, pun intended. So we have centers all around the world, which houses servers or data storage. So this includes hardware, power systems, controls, anything to keep the servers running. So the companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft offer cloud computing services. Cloud is nothing but a global network of servers around the world. So there are three types of cloud: public, private, and hybrid. So you can use Google computing platform to access storage, uh, run your applications throughout your device. So moving on to next slide. So I have kept both Flutter and Kotlin in the same slide because they somewhat do the same job, kind of. Flutter is actually a UI toolkit to build Android or iOS apps, web applications, etc., with a single code base. The language which we use is Dart, and which with the help of that you can actually build the apps. And the another one, you can also develop Android apps using Kotlin. Kotlin is actually a language which is also used to build web applications and apps as well. Both have their own pros and cons, and it totally depends on the demand of your project. If you want to build an app for your project, you can choose accordingly. So, moving on to the next slide. TensorFlow. If your project involves machine learning, then you can go for TensorFlow. It is actually a library to compute and perform numerical computations for machine learning. It is quite popular. I know you have heard about it. So there are other libraries available like TensorFlow. So choose which will suit your project. Moving on to next slide. Okay, Google Assistant. You all already know about it as it is quite popular. But still, I'm gonna give you overview. Google Assistant is a assistant from Google. If you want to help the users to use your device or software smoothly, you can integrate your content with Google Assistant. If you're building a app, maybe you want to integrate the Google Assistant. So you can do that quite effectively. So moving on to the next slide. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. I hope this is visible. Okay, so this is the site where you can find all the resources. Here's the link. I'll drop in the chat. Someone please do that. So here you can find everything from challenge timeline to resources demo day about the winners. So you can just go through the videos, and we also have the design sprint. Here are the pathways and code labs which you can practice. So Google Developer has provided code labs for the developers to practice and gain up their skills. So I'll be going through one or two code labs to give you the overview. So I've chosen the Flutter just for an example. So here we can see there are about 5 paths The first one is the introduction of the Flutter development. The second is write a first Flutter app. I'll just show you the code lab. So it starts from the introduction. Everything is written how it's going to be done and what you have to do setting up the Flutter environment. So as you scroll down, you can just practice and play around with the code. And after finishing, you can just also give the quiz at the end of this, at the end of completing all the path. So after completing this, you can actually earn a digital badge for your developer's profile. So going back, we have other technologies as well, like Firebase, web pathways. If you're building a website, do give it a try. And let's look at the Google Assistant Code Lab. It is about the same. Everything is same, but you have to practice according to the demand of the technologies. You can take the Code Lab, and you will get the insight how you have to implement and integrate the Google Assistant in your app. So yeah, this is was what was Code Lab. Code Lab is nothing but a platform for you to practice codes and implementation of the different technologies. So I'm moving back to the slides. Okay. So even if you're a beginner, don't worry. We can get you started with these code labs according to your own schedule. You can practice it along with your teammates, and so DSC will be helping you throughout with workshops, resources, mentorship. What we are expecting from you guys is to create a solution for problems which world is facing right now. I know this all technologies are overwhelming for you guys, but trust me, one step at a time can help you to cross any hurdle. If you're thinking that I do not know anything, how will I do it? If you don't do it, how will you know it? That's a simple logic. Just do it, then only you will know it. Everyone starts from the bottom, so even if you are doubtful you won't be able to complete this challenge, I would advise you to give it a go and practice. You will learn something. That's how people learn. Surround yourself with the people you want to become. So go for it. Over to you, Avnish.
Okay, thank you so much, Alicia, for this quick go through of everything around the Code Labs. And the link to Code Labs has been shared in the live chat. Also, it will be available on a group on our YouTube description. So, moving on to the next slide. All right. So, hey guys, this is Avnish Singh, DSC lead at Birla Institute of Applied Sciences, and I am here to help you out with the questions that you are asking in the chat. How to form a team, where we can find team members, or how to test our ideas, and where actually we can get mentored or connect with the communities of developers. So let's start with the winning ideas of 2020 solution challenge, that is last year. The first idea that was built there was Sinhe Deep Sea of Mind, that is from South Korea. And what actually they did was created a platform with Flutter and Google Cloud allow users to accept basic information and activities to inspire to attain self-help gatherings group that run by suicide prevention centers. So that is one of the ideas over mental health. And moving on, next idea that was one of the winners among the 2020 Solution Challenge winners is FreeSpeak by Germany. So FreeSpeak is a software that uses machine learning and video analyzing tools to analyze your presentation and give you live feedback such as a virtual coach. Next idea was from Pakistan, that is a Worthy Walk. It was a fitness app based on Android and iOS platforms to track your walking, running, or cycling goals and boost yourself. So moving on to the next slide. All right, so you might have got few more ideas. Now we have two more ideas from India and Indonesia. So what Indonesia built was Tulibot, which is an integrated assistant technology built with Google Speech API. That's like a bridge between of communication between deaf people in the society to help them communicate and like ease their easy day-to-day task from like speaking through this app. And lastly but not least, there was a mi camp app by India, which holds all the information that student needs in the campus. So that's basically like an app which contains all the information about college events, school events, your marketplace, library, ordering food, and hostel management, and everything like around whatever that you need. It should be right away from the screen of your right from the comfort of your Android screen. All right, so that's all about the ideas. I hope you might have got some insights from these winning ideas of last year. So moving on to the next slide. All right, so the main part where you will be looking for the online support, mentorship, forming teams, and all around the SDGs that we have offered you. What's that like if you want to go really deep dive inside into that? So there are these three things that we have to offer. The first thing is UN website, second is the Digi app by United Nations, and in the last we have Parthian app. So we'll discuss all of these in detail now. So moving on to the UN website. So the United Nations website for SDG goals is sdgs.un.org/goals. Once you visit this website, you will get a brief insight and also the detailed information about these 17 goals. We have 169 targets by now, 1034 events have been concluded. Also, 102,021 publications have been done on these issues, and 5,285 actions have been taken till date. Also, as per the latest agenda of 2030 sustainable development, we have these 17 rules and guidelines, and under them there has been extensive research to choose only these 17, and there's a lot to offer and lot to be done among them. So what has been done till now, and what has to be done by now, and also the problem statements that are under that, and what actually should be the approach and what should be the motive to do that. You can find everything on this website. Now, some of you might think that, yeah, going through the website or visiting it a lot of times and then downloading content should be off bit. So we also have an app to do that, which you can directly install in your phone and smartphone and look at it whenever you need. So this is the Digi app, which is an app by United Nations, which contains the similar information, and where you can also have some interactive activities. You can create your own profile and interact with others and discuss about the SDGs there. So now moving on to the last in the list, that is the Parthian platform. So as it says, let's be amazing together. So you have to discuss your ideas and everything, whatever you need. This is a platform which connects 5,000 plus students and 100 plus Google developer experts, mentors to they help you out there with your ideas, any announcement that are there. If you want to form a team, just put your queries or put your whatever you are thinking. If you are thinking about solving a problem, you are having bugs fixing in an API or some integration, just put your problem over there. The Google experts or the community will be there. And how to access this platform is you just have to simply register through the Google Developer Solution 2021 Challenge registration form. And once you have done that, you will receive an email. So just join this platform, and right after it, you can get this email and join this platform to get all your answers, all mentorship from the Google experts, and even create a team if you want that. So that's pretty much about it. I think now you have a clearer idea, and thousands of developers have already started ideation among the solution challenge building for the next billion users. So what are you waiting for? So on that note, I will like to hand over to Vanshika girl.
All right. Thank you so much, Avnish, and thank you everyone who attended the session today. We hope all your doubts have been cleared and you are all set to build amazing projects in lined up. We are excited to see all your amazing ideas for the challenge, and thank you once again, and see you in the next session, guys.